Hi everybody, I'm doing rooms in the path of web application pen testing. I'm doing this request. I have this video for this. I'm doing I'm doing HTTP request smuggling. This is my second video for it. I have problem. The first one I'm not sure. I have a sound issue, and also I had a problem. It took me long to solve the walkthrough. What do we do so we don't waste time? Let's do the configuration now, so when we wait for it we can finish the other tasks. So basically the last one, as you said, it just gives you etc host, so we need to go to the host file. The IP is 10.10.45.220, and then we got that. So we did that part. I have my the burp is there. Okay, paste and go. So we have the application, we have the login, and we have the home. This room basically is HTTP request smuggling, learn about HTTP request smuggling and different techniques. We will do the lab is basically in the CL.TE one. There's no labs in this two, the last two. Request smuggling basically is when you have two servers, backend and frontend, but they don't speak the same protocol, not same protocol. Everyone understands something differently. The key part in the request smuggling is the content length and transfer-encoding. As a hacker, you try to play with these two, because and then you have like split. Usually we have two. You have one request, and then you try to smuggle the second one. Now, depend how the server configured. Remember, this is HTTP 1.1. That's where request smuggling work. Most of this technique will not work. You can then there is this HTTP request smuggling 2. I forgot about it, but there's some techniques you might need to do. But most technique will not work in, especially if the backend and frontend they strict work with version 2. Any case, so basically here, one of the server will see the whole thing as one request, so the green and the red as one thing, and treat them like that. And then as the front end, the back end, in the other hand, for example, you see it as two, so you see one and you see two, and that's how the trick. You tell him 0 0, it's end of the request, so do this and then do that. And when you do that, that's why it try to trick the application, and then you can try to take the permission authorization. You can get sensitive data, because now this one doesn't get same check and balance like the first one, because this one is like pass. That's why you smuggle it without checking. So basically that's what the idea behind. You can read about it. Postwagger has a good labs for it. So this is more talk about the infrastructure. We come back to this room. I'm trying to launch the lab so we don't waste time like I did the first video until I cancel it and then redo it. No, let's go this one. This one is quickly said. If you have a modern server in the cloud or anything, you have what's the front, you have a backend, load balancer, we have a proxies, we have this one too. If you have too many users, to of course you have a database where you put your data. Now we have everything is API, micros, services, and all of that. This one is a debatable subject. Monolithic backend. A rule, of course, you can cache website, you can hold page, database cache. If you do website, you know this, how to make website faster. You have a CDN, API caching. So the question, what is site sit in front of one or the more client request? The client request is a verse proxy. This one is straightforward. This is just make sure my sound work because I had issues again. I don't know why I start having this problem. No, this one, the strike of the request. So if you have if you see the request in any with BEP, of course there is the post request, the request line, the information, the host, the content type and user agent, and then the body. That's where you smuggle stuff. And then we have the content length. The content length is what tell burp, for example, the browser, for example, read 14. So you tell him read this. uh, remember in the and then we have the chunk. The chunk, it mean if you have a long request or something, you split it. So we said to the browser, if you said chunk, it means there is this is the first, this is second, so it is part of the, and then they've compressed, they've flood all this header stuff. So you have in the and that's how you play with the smuggling transfer encoding header. How header affect request processing? Header play an important role, okay? Manipulated like content length and transfer. This is the two variable we'll play with. In a request smuggling origin, if both content length and transfer encode header are present, ambiguity can rise. So basically you send both of them. That's this one we can when we start practicing we can understand it better. So send the crafted request with both header and it's in order. We'll practice now. We understand this. Do this quick question: what request head indicate response body size? The size you always send it. Where is the size? Content length. That's what it give information for content length. The lab is basic in CL.TE. CL.TE it means send content and transfer encoding in order. So basically the first one, the first backend server, the front end use the content length and the back end use the transfer encode. What that mean if you send something like that, the first the front server will see content length 30. He doesn't care about this, he uses the whole thing as one shot. The second server he used the transfer encoding, so you say the chunk, so this is 1 and by 00 it means the first request end. Then this one start as a new request and this will treat it as a smuggle request. As I said, the front server see content length 130 byte and believe that the request end after is admin equal true. So the whole thing is 1. The second one sees chunk and interprets 0 as the end of the chunk, so we treat this one as second one. Then incorrect content, let it give us an example. Let's test this one because this one CL.TE, as I said, is mean content length transfer encoding, and this is the one that we'll do in the lab. Let's go back to the lab quickly. In the lab they will tell us that the submission, that our submission, if we submit something, we'll come and find it here, submissions. In this one we don't. Let's test it. If I say for example Nigerian test 1, if I send now this one, your application is set, contact PHP, we know it's there. If I go now, refresh, I find it here. Now watch this. Let's new for where is our burp. Let's burp it again. At the burp, let's say my name, I say test 2. Now I send it. If I come now here to burp, if I go as my proxy, send it to repeater. Where are you, Meister repeater? Why it's so that the color has become lighter? I don't know what happened, why it's light. It's very funny, the font that what happened to the font? No, let's go with dark font size. Okay, so the dark one doesn't work nicely. I can't see well. Let's bet my eyes is usually use dark mode, but the color of the text, it's, let's put it light so maybe it look nice. Okay, so one thing, for example, now I'm in a repeater. For example, one thing you look this content length 26. How you know it's 26? For example, you can always remember the space in here. Like in this room in the beginning, they talk about they tell you this, the new line and the characters. You can activate it here so you can see them, how burp is counting them. So for example now, because they get count too. For example here, if this space, let's say this, how you know it's 26. If you highlight now this like that, you can see here in the right side and the inspector selection, you can see it's 26. So you know how 26 came from, so you don't get confused in case you do you try to do it. So remember now we use in this lab, remember we already practiced and stand the first one, the content-length transfer-encoding. This one they don't have labs, the walkthrough is about it. So now remember we add this, we have that. Now we need to go to the root because we're trying to smuggle now the we need to smuggle this one to steal the password of the user. I'm not 100% understand the full things, but need to go back to the proxy here. I want to show you something else. No, go back to the proxy itself. The root. I need to get the root one, but it's the same. I can just send it to intruder. So I'm not sending a form, just visiting the website. So the root folder, the get one, send it to intruder. With these tricks we can send it to repeater, play with it first before we send it into intruder. For example here I can send the get because I'm trying to do the post here. I can this is how you play with the inspector. Why it doesn't allow me to request up? We are in HTTP 1, you can change. We're not doing HTTP 2 because it will not work. We can put it HT1. I can change, for example, because we're doing the value, we can copy paste from change request method automatic to post, or you can just copy. We can copy directly what we like in. For example here we can remove what we don't need, because most of the time this one you don't need them for this test. So you can see how he built it, how the TryHackMe build it. Content application, we need it always to stay there. Now we need to add content length and transfer encoding. These two are very important. And then we have down to tell it its end, and then we push our second request that we want to smuggle. This is, no, I'm not getting that one. That before we go to intruder, you can go straight to intruder. I'm just playing around. I want to test something if it does. So I want to smuggle this. The request here, how long length is this one? Let's see. Basically it's 20. TryHackMe said you want to push it to 500. I think because we're doing the null byte. This 160. Why it's 160? How you count it from? I don't know. It's counted from 0 is end, so no, the whole thing. So it's counting the whole thing. 159. Why is 160 there? 180. Sometimes no, but we need to add that. So he's adding something here. 159. I think that's it. It's the same as if I send it to intruder now. More with that spacing, I think sometimes you make a problem with it. So let's compare. Is the same as post HTTP, the host 0 username 500 is more enough, I think. I don't know what exactly. Um, so basically, we're smuggling this part. 160 is enough to send the whole thing. So the first server will take the whole, all of it. So use the content length. The second one will see 0, so it's chunk, and then this is our. And the idea is to, the payload is not simple list. We're using null payload, and then we generate around 10,000, I think 10,000, and then resource, we can create a new one. Max deal we do is a random variation. I think it's what we do, a maximum only 10, otherwise it's not the premium version. So this is what he's doing here. Not byte. I think is the older of this is the older version of Burp that has this thing. 1020 2000. I will launch it now. No, hold on. 2 millisecond. So we have already. Okay, I hope it will work. Let me do something quickly. Let me stop the burp here. Disable. Let's make sure we only have the one that we test before. That's the one we test now. Oh, we did. I want to show you something I forgot to show you before we launch the attack. Let's go back to a repeater. You see, for example, here the idea of the length. If I change the length here to say 10 and set to don't update the length, let's see what we get. If I send this, your query have been saved. So if I go back and open this, you see it doesn't show the whole thing. It's only taking the first, so it's not. So the length is very important. That's why in the room is talking about it. So this length, it only take 10, so it take until this the J. So basically, I didn't take the query. So the just note for the length. So that's the length. If I go back to our friend intruder, where are you, intruder? Intruder. If things look fine, a random 10 turn-ons. We did that. We send in create a new one. We send in null byte 10,000. Let's start it and leave it work, and let's finish the room, and we come back later on to it to see if we win, we lose. The next one is the reverse. Remember, now we talk about before the CL.TE, the content length transfer-encoding. In this case, we're reversing it. So it means best example is this. So for example, now the first server, the front-end server see transfer encoding chunk, because it's TE chunk transfer encoding had then process the request as a chunk. Indicate that the next 120, so the next 20 character are part of the current request part. The front-end server consider everything up to 0, indicating the end of the chunk message part of the body, the first request. And then the back-end server, however, use the content length. So the back-end server sees 4, so you just, I think, stop here. You see this as 4, and then this one become the second request. It's our smuggling. So not include the entire smuggling request. And then we can trick it and do this. Now TE.CL is basically, it's straightforward there. Guys, sorry, I'm a bit tired. It's redoing this some bit. Now the obfuscation part, it means TE.TE. Basically, what you do is you send, of course, the content length. You always need to be there. You send the encoding, but play with it. Usually the standard are where they are. The standard usually what's they call it? Zip the chunked. I saw it somewhere here. Forgot where I see them. What I'm looking for. Example, attacker manipulated the transfer encode header by including chunked in malformed variation. This chunked one, it doesn't exist in the standard. So now what you're playing with the server is like you give him some random thing, random, and see how we react. Now, depending on the server configuration, you might just, you know what, I don't know it, or just cancel the request and ignore it. But that's why you play some old version of software or something. That's how you, the hacker, you try to play with variable. You, for example, one can just say you send me this, or just ignore everything. For example, the first one is standard chunk encoding, but the second not standard. Depending on its configuration, the front-end server might process the request based on the first transfer encoding. So he said, oh, this is, I don't know it, but this one I know it, so I'll use this one. I just do this first, and then because it's chunk, I just finish it as a single chunked message, and it's stopping 00, it means end. The backend and server, however, might handle the malform transfer differently. It could either reject and process a simultaneous front and interpret requests differently to the presence of no standard header. If the process only first 4 bytes, so it means if he decide, no, let me start with 4, so then he will take this one as separate request, and then it's our smuggling and we win. So that's usually what it is. I think Postwaga website, I think what they call that academy, they have a good labs. If you want to understand this more, you need to do them. Now let's see if we won or we lost, because I did this from redo the video, didn't work for me. So basically, in our case, we're doing, as I said, we're doing this one, the CL.TE, the content length. So the first one, the first server will see the content length. He take this one as one shot, because 160 to do the whole thing. And the second server, he take the chunked, so he take this one first, and then that's our smuggling. The idea of smuggling is to catch another user. Now there's a simulation for another user that gives us the password. Like server get confused or something. If my bus stand into this, I can't lie to you about it. So that's why you follow later on. I need to redo this room, and then I will do another one for this to be more clearer on it. So let's see if we did win or we did lost. Or so we know this too. Let's see if anything happened. We got another one. Let's see if we got a password, we're just losing. We got a password. So our request was successful, so we got there. You see now the query get, so I'm not sure, it's like because we send the request. This is the part I'm not really 100% understanding, because we send in the contact PHP, and we send in a null, so a null name test and null, so name test, but the query, like the server get confused and give us the login for the other user, request for the other user. I'm not 100% in that. So with that password, of course, we can come here and just log in, and we get so finally it worked this time. Last time I was waiting, what's the hint? I didn't read the hint. As mentioned in the task, if you don't see the credential, it could be because the attack didn't run for a few minutes. I don't know. I redo the video, so I don't know. So where is that thing? So we can stop it now. Discard. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you like it. Finish the room. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I hope to explain. I said you need more labs to understand this. This is not straightforward, this one. Sometimes you get confused with the length, and like as I said, like the length you can always do highlight. You see it, you see it in the not in the proxy, in the repeater. So you can do highlight. You see it. You can you sometimes it's better to switch this on so you can see, because when you do smuggling it sometimes it's confusing. Yeah, thank you guys, and hope you like it, and thank you very much, and have a good day.